WWE Money in the Bank 2020 has been canceled. It's been confirmed by the venue. And quite frankly, this might actually lead to a bigger problem. So we're going to talk about it right here, right now on Destination Pro Wrestling. But as always, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell. This way you can get notified on all of the content that I produce on YouTube, which, as you guys know, we are actually on a streak. We have been producing quite a bit of content during this quarantine. Michigan just extended the lockdown up until the end of the month. Could even be extended after that, depending on how things go. So we're producing content every day. We're talking about pro wrestling news. And honestly, YouTube doesn't always push out the content. So if you guys click the subscribe button and ring the bell, that may not even be enough. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Ango with Ango. It is greatly appreciated. Before we talk about the news, I know you guys have some questions on presentation. I'm just working on some stuff right now. We're going to see how things go. Doing some construction. I'm launching a streaming channel. Okay, I know you guys don't want to hear about that this entire video, but big things are coming. So let's kind of talk about Money in the Bank and what's actually happening with the pay-per-view. The venue has called it off. As you guys know, it was scheduled to be taking place early in May. It was scheduled to take place in Baltimore. But yes, this quarantine is deeply affecting WWE. It's affecting AEW. And I just know for myself, I've been going through some travel issues with like Delta Airlines. And, you know, I had a trip planned, obviously, for Double or Nothing. And everything has just been a headache, which really sucks considering that we are literally facing one of the weirdest times ever in our lifetimes, especially myself at my age. But when you really look at WWE and AEW, I kind of want to lead with a question. At what point does WWE and AEW just stop filming, and when will they take a break? And the reason why I ask this is because it's become such a problem for the mainstream media these days. And I think when you look at everything that's happening politically, economically, I think there's just so many things going on in this world right now where I understand the escape part. Like, I understand people's arguments when they say wrestling is a good escape. But when do these companies draw the line and say, we're not doing the show anymore? I think obviously with Money in the Bank being canceled, it's really hard to say if that's the line that's been drawn, because just recently WWE confirmed that they have plans to do more shows at the Performance Center, which sounds like they've been given clearance from Florida despite a stay-at-home order being made. It's really, really confusing. It's a really hard argument to make. And honestly, I don't even know how I feel anymore. I don't know if anybody here is a fan of UFC, but UFC has been talking about UFC 249, this pay-per-view that was coming up next week, Saturday. And they found some law that they're able to go around. There's like some land in California that's not owned or operated by the state. I don't know the whole circumstance, but it was kind of like a loophole in the stay-at-home order, which UFC was going to do the pay-per-view there. It wasn't until the head of Disney and ESPN went to the UFC and said, this cannot happen. The reason why I bring this up is because television partners don't seem to have any input right now when it comes to the production of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW Dynamite. And to make matters worse, Impact Wrestling is also doing some empty arena tapings, and it sounds like they're going to be taping their pay-per-view Rebellion. They're just going to do it for TV at this point. So we know that Money in the Bank being canceled is happening, but is WWE going to move this to? Are they going to move this to Florida? Are they going to travel to California? You know, kind of looking at what UFC has done, part of me thinks that WWE could kind of get away with doing something similar. The UFC 249 pay-per-view was scheduled to take place at a casino that is not owned by the state. It's not the land or the property is not owned by the state. And I didn't look too much into this, but I'm also starting to get the vibes. Is this something that WWE can do to kind of get around the loopholes? But with Money in the Bank being canceled, I think it just leads to so many big problems. And I don't know if WWE has the solution here. It's really interesting. I don't know if we really expected something like this to happen to the point where literally we would see an extension and whatever it may be. But this whole quarantine, this whole pandemic in general has made our quarantine it's made it kind of difficult. Obviously, you know, you can't go to a barber shop, you can't go anywhere, and obviously we all understand why. It's to keep people safe, but at the same time too, I think a lot of people are eager to get back to the real world. And I appreciate WWE and AEW for producing content for us. Obviously, I think it was kind of nice to have 2 days of WrestleMania, which is something I normally would not say. It's been nice watching Dynamite and NXT, but it's just, it kind of goes back to the question I've asked in the beginning of this video. It's just kind of like, where do you draw the line and say, no, we're not going to do it? Because at the end of the day, WWE and AEW could be taking a lot of precautions and being as cautious as possible, and that's awesome. But the idea is to really be strict. And I could speak from Michigan because I live in Michigan. I mean, you literally do not have the ability, like you could get fined for going to your friend's house. That's how strict the stay-at-home order is. If you're not doing essential stuff, you're getting a ticket, you're paying a fine over $1,000, and you could even go to jail. So, like, I get both sides of the argument, and I'm really curious to see what you guys say in the comment section, because these last few videos where I've talked about the pandemic and how it's affected business, it really makes you think that, like, it really makes you think differently about the whole situation. And just so you guys know, Money in the Bank for me is one of my favorite pay-per-views. One of my favorite pay-per-views, because I think Money in the Bank does something really well, and that is, it kind of gets you excited about the future in terms of some intrigue. I think there's some intrigue on who wins the Money in the Bank, if they successfully cash in or not successfully cash in. But it's also a good opportunity for WWE to make future stars, which is kind of funny when I say that, because Brock Lesnar obviously being Money in the Bank, or Randy Orton, obviously those guys were already established. But I think the opportunity to do something special with Money in the Bank is there. And I think it would be kind of cool to have some ladder matches, with the empty arena. But again, that is me selfishly talking as a fan, but as a person that wants to see this whole quarantine end and see life go back to normal, it would be kind of nice. And I speak on that because I've been trying to get some refunds for everything for Double or Nothing. So I think I kind of relate to a lot of people in a sense, Delta Airlines not giving full refunds, not doing refunds at all. And, Double or Nothing technically hasn't been canceled yet, but there are some rumors about that we'll talk about on the channel soon. But like Double or Nothing tickets haven't been refunded. You can't ask for a refund on the tickets because the event technically hasn't been canceled. Everything is just stressful when it comes to these trips, and it kind of sucks. And I think that's why, as a fan, I enjoy watching the wrestling aspect. But I think what I would enjoy more than just watching a couple episodes of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW Dynamite is for life to go back to normal. And I think a lot of people would agree with me, and that's why every day that I'm doing pro wrestling news, I'm starting to get to the point, even though lack of wrestling would hurt this channel, I think in order for things to get back to normal, everything's just got to be shut down to a certain extent. It's tough, man. It's a really, really tough thing to talk about. Money in the Bank being canceled. I think WWE might pull it off in their empty arena. But the beautiful part about Money in the Bank is the crowd being involved with the spots that are taking place. And it kind of goes back to Double or Nothing, man. When I went to the first Double or Nothing, the crowd made it so enjoyable. Part of me just questions how AEW could even keep the show going without the crowd. I also am curious if WWE and AEW may have pre-taped for these two events in advance, which is really crazy to think about because it is still some time away. Now, granted, it is April 9th at the time of this recording, so we'll see kind of what happens with WWE and any sort of updates that we get from this. But my best bet, guys, if you bought tickets for Money in the Bank, go and get your refund, because I don't really see any other things that can happen. I don't think there's any miracles happening, and at this point, I mean, it sounds like it's not happening. So protect your investment, especially for those who spend a lot of money on your tickets. Definitely take care of that like as soon as possible. But anyways, guys, it's been very interesting. I know my flow has been a little bit different too on the videos. I'm just way more relaxed, and I'm really just enjoying talking about pro wrestling. And like I said, guys, I'm starting a streaming initiative where I'm going to go live on Twitch or YouTube or something. I'm still working out the details on that. I'm working on the setup, whole setup change, doing some construction and stuff like that to the place. So it should be pretty cool. See what happens. Destination Pro Wrestling, constantly bringing you guys the latest news, guys. So make sure you click that subscribe button ring the bell. This way you could get notified literally on all the content on the channel. And like I said, you guys already know the deal. YouTube doesn't always push out the content. So follow me on Twitter at Tango with Ango, and I'll let you guys know when new videos are up. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.